Well, unfortunately I've got
As I
bad news.
suspected,
Oh,
under pressure from Courtney's people, our co-funders pulled out.
It didn't pan out.
Yeah, trying to keep this project moving. I think the subtle internal pressures, we were forced to bend to them. It's not easy for me to tell you that, well, my head of programming basically asked me to bow out of the project.
And what kind of...
You know, as I mentioned, it was concerns from our colleagues at MTV, because of their relationship with Courtney and Nirvana and everything else. So I think we're gonna have to bow out, and I extremely regret having to tell you this, but there's nothing I can do. I tried.
It is this control, or attempts to control, that for me has dominated the whole story, and the control extended to the media. I might have lost a bit of funding, but a lot worse has happened to other journalists. Lynn Hirschberg, the respected and esteemed writer, received death threats and threats to cut her dog up after writing an article in Vanity Fair which mentioned Courtney's heroin use while pregnant. Things reached a crazed dimension at the 1995 Oscar ceremonies when Courtney tried to bludgeon Lynn Hirschberg with Quentin Tarantino's Oscar. I asked Lynn Hirschberg to be interviewed for this film, but she said she had been terrified for her life and wouldn't go there again. Alice Wheeler, the photographer, likewise felt intimidated by Courtney.
Because she has, like I said before, kind of punched out a couple of my friends, and after that book from England came out in England, but not in the States yet, she hired private detectives to interview at length Kurt's old friends, which was very intimidating.
But it's amazing they went to that trouble.
Oh, yes. And they had a list of about 70 people that they were looking to interview, and so it was costing quite a bit of money. And I just perceived the whole idea of the private detective calling all of Kurt's old friends as a veiled threat not to talk to anyone. And, you know, I don't know what'll happen as a result of doing this interview with you. I mean, I'll let you know.
Other journalists have received similar treatment. This is a phone call from Courtney to Victoria Clark, who was writing a book on Nirvana.
I will never fucking forgive you. As a matter of fact, I will haunt you two fucking cunts for the rest of your goddamn life. Going and interviewing Lynn Hirschberg is called rape. That's what that's fucking called. That's called rape. Fucking bitch. Only somebody on the Bush Family Values Administration would think that Lynn Hirschberg had any kind of fucking hot interview at all. Or you two goddamn idiots that don't even fucking know about punk rock. I don't even know what your fucking problem is or why you got this wild hair up your ass, but you're going to pay and pay and pay and pay out your ass. And that's a fact. Your fucking list of enemies is going to be longer than you can wrap your fucking finger around, and you're going to be so fucking humiliated this time next week, you're going to wish you'd never been born.
What happened
Courtney
was
later physically attacked Victoria in a bar.
I was in a club in Hollywood, and Courtney appeared. This is before I'd finished writing the book.
Right.
And she appeared and had a go at me, basically. Physically.
How do you mean, had a go at you?
Well, she sort of grabbed me and attacked me with something. I think it was a glass or something. And I ended up covered in beer and on the ground. And she pulled me along the floor by my hair and tried to get me outside.
What, some distance? Or?
Yeah, for quite a long way, yeah. Yeah. It was quite a scary thing.
But what I found most disturbing was that Kurt, sounding psychotic and crazed, joined in all of this in an attempt to protect Courtney.
This is Kurt Cobain. If anything comes out in this book that hurts my wife, I'll fucking hurt you. I don't care if this is a recorded threat. I'm at the end of my ropes. You'll understand when you see me in person. Never been more fucking serious in my life. suppose I could throw out a few $1,000s to have you snuffed, but maybe I'll try it the legal way first.
I was scared enough to leave the house I lived in and move like 3,000 miles away.
What, seriously?
Yeah, oh yeah, I had to. I mean, I left there and then. The minute I heard the messages, I left. I packed my bag and left. I called the police from LA. I didn't call them from Seattle. And
at that time you were living in Seattle?
yeah, but I was living alone in Seattle at that time.
And you were really, really frightened?
Oh, absolutely terrified. Because I knew that, you know, they weren't joking. It was, like, serious.
I'm traveling to the ACLU Awards dinner, the American Council of Civil Liberties, which protects First Amendment rights such as freedom of speech and freedom of the press, and at which Courtney Love will be the special guest presenting the Torch of Freedom Award. It's being held at the Century Plaza Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles. It was a huge Hollywood event. Everyone was there. Al and Jack were there too. Here's Al shaking hands with Larry Flint. Dad prepared a whole list of special questions for Courtney.
No.
Being somewhat taken aback by the whole occasion, I let Al go first.
Hi there.
Hi there. I caught a little of your rehearsal at SIR. It sounded really good.
How did you catch my rehearsal at SIR?
Listening in.
What were you doing there? You're not
doing
supposed to do that.
Some other business. But what I wanted to know is I heard you do Let the Sun Shine In. Did I hear that?
No.
Something sounded like you were doing some...
Was it did it have like a lyric about sun or something? So we're doing this whole
The band sounded
California record. So it's Malibu. It's kind of called Malibu. It's probably what you heard.
Do you like this? A lot of your new members in your band? I mean, is it working out?
I've had the same members for years.
So it's not a new band. I got some bad information. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love my band. They're great.
Al's nerve had obviously failed him too.
I just, was so overwhelmed by the...
Killing
God.
Kurt, or...
I think you
But
didn't
this
want
was
me
a
to
big chance, wasn't it?
But you didn't want me to do that, did you? Oh, no.
Yeah. I thought...
Hey, I was overwhelmed by the moment. I had her there, and she got pissed about the Ed Norton thing, and I thought, geez, she got mad about
I thought you were going to ask her finally about, what was it?
What's that?
About El Duce, or about...
So now I'm the guy on the spot now. It's all of a sudden...
I thought you were going to ask her.
Well, I was overwhelmed by her views.
Courtney, what does the ACLU mean to you?
Oh, it's a lot like my parents. Very liberal. It's very good that it's around. It protects everybody. Kind of keeps the American ideal very much alive. It's really important. It's not very glamorous of a political organization, which I like about it. It's very, very, very liberal. And it's about everything from the anti-death penalty. I mean, it favors stuff sometimes we don't all like.
But, Courtney, why have you personally, threatened journalists in the past?
Have I threatened them?
Yeah.
Well, because it's my right to do it. It's not against the law. But it doesn't mean I'm going to take them to court unless they lie. Don't lie.
But I mean...
And when I was really young, I didn't know that, I was weird. I grew up with hippies, so I never knew that, I was bugging anybody. So when I kind of got crap for it, it freaked me out. But I don't want to talk about it, because I'm so happy.
But what about death threats? I wanted to pursue the question further, but the next thing I knew, Courtney was on stage.
There's so many people in this room tonight that have really taught me a lot about integrity. And we live in a time when the Bill of Rights is being attacked a lot. And precious few people, especially from my generation, are standing up to say, stop. All forms of media, the lowest and the highest, have their absolute right to that First Amendment right as well.
I couldn't actually quite believe what I was hearing, but I decided to do something I'd never done before, to ask a question in public that I considered well worth asking. Unfortunately, Al started having a panic attack behind the camera.
I don't want to appear to be a party pooper.
But in the interest of free speech, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. I think Hollywood always has a problem distinguishing reality from myth or image. And unless it is considered appropriate behavior to threaten or cajole or manipulate journalists, esteemed journalists who have written unflattering reviews, I find it a strange decision on the part of the ACLU to choose Courtney Love as a special guest here tonight. And to Courtney Love, I would like to just ask what you feel about your support. That's the president of the ACLU you can hear shouting. He's a good friend of Courtney's. This clearly wasn't going to be my entree into the world of after-dinner speakers. But I also wondered what kinds of things might be done to try and control this film in the future, and thought maybe I'd record as a kind of epilogue any such attempts.